around us instead of the, what we have or what we don't have or everything in between. And we've always made it a priority to try and spend time with people over, circumstances. I mean, spend time with people in circumstances, whatever. But really from the bottom of our hearts, we just want to thank you. And so I decided, and people have been asking for what happened and everything, so we'll just lay it all out here.
Oh.
So yeah, we're gonna stand right here for a little bit longer.
It's moving.
Yeah, that's great. So I decided, I've been thinking, of course we've known for a long time that Charlotte is the one for me. And I think we've all known, it's just a matter of, making sure everything is right, and it just feels right. And so once all that happened, I made a point of talking to basically everyone in her family.
It's a big family,
people,
so.
Made rounds. I took off my location services so she wouldn't know I was visiting her dad.
Yeah, because I track him all the time.
Where are you? What are you doing? Yeah. And so I think one of the conversations that really just stuck in my mind was Leslie and I were walking from our tailgate spot that we had for TCU football games, and John and Charlotte were up ahead walking. Yeah, it was fun.
Some drinks were had.
And I've been thinking that week, I was like, December, January, February feels like a really good time just for everything where she's at in school and just financially and all that good stuff. And so we were walking, and Leslie was like, my daughter's just incredible. And I said, she is.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. Nice little humble brag from Mom over there. And so I was like, Leslie, I love your daughter more than anything in the entire world. And something I've been thinking about this past week is that I want to ask your daughter to marry me. And she's like, when the time comes, you don't need my blessing. You're already part of this family. So from there, the rest, lots of tears. So when we both had some beverages, so it was good and stirred up. So it was great, and they were ahead walking, and so nothing was ever.
And then I've had to keep a secret ever.
Everybody did a great job.
Yes, kudos to everybody, because I have no idea, and I'm so happy that everybody's here. I just can't imagine it being a more perfect day. So thank you all for being here. We love you all.
Wait, how did it happen?
I was just forgetting. Everyone knows I love a good story. So I start thinking about where it's going to happen, and I'm like, there's not a lot of scenic places in Fort Worth in January. So I was like, I think the Trinity River would be a great spot. Like, I run all the time, and whenever I run, I just think about stuff. And appreciate it. Yay. So I'm sitting at a friend's Christmas. There's no Friendsgiving for that, so friend's Christmas. And so I'm sitting there with Joe, and I'm like, Joe, I'm planning on proposing to Charlotte. It's a really big deal, And he's like, where are you going to do it? And I was like, the Trinity. And he more or less said, why? I was like, I don't know. And he was like, I've been thinking about this for a month. I don't know where to go. And he was like, you should go to TCU and go right by the swing off Jarvis. So big props to Joe for... So, thank you, Joe. You earned yourself a wedding invitation, bud. And so we're... What? Yeah, we can probably do that.
I think I'm going to knock it over.
So we're, going through all the motions of where to plan it and everything, and we're having to get people here, and I'm telling Charlotte's sister and my friend Ryan, my friends Ashton and Austin, I'm telling all them I want you to know in advance so you can book a plane ticket, and come down and everything. And I was like, but I don't have I have a story, And so we went with that Austin's college pastor was getting an award from TCU today on a Saturday.
Yay, your pastor!
And then, Ryan decided last week that he was coming, like his boss decided that he was coming in for work. So that worked out really well, and she didn't know Stephanie was going to be here. So the plan was, we'll drop them off at campus, and then we'll go park and get ready, because the plan is, we're going to have a fancy double date and whatnot. So we had reason to dress up. And last weekend we were riding around and she was like, so what are we doing next weekend? And like, my stomach was and I was like, oh, the ceremony, Saturday, be there. I hope you can make it. And I was like, oh, I'll be wearing a sports coat, so you should dress up too. Basically. So we get there, and I was like, part of the plan was, and I've made maps. All of you have seen my maps.
Oh my God!
Maps and paragraphs and everything. You haven't seen the maps yet.
I heard about the maps.
Alright, I would apologize for this, and if I would, I'd say sorry for being over-prepared.
Never be sorry for being over.
Right, so we parked by the library, and I have our whole route map. Jesus. Be careful. So we're walking past, and we're walking past this war memorial, and Charlotte decides to stop by, and we're looking at it.
It was also your idea. So
She's like, I've never seen this part of campus, and so we're there, and apparently that's not how it happened.
And at that point, I'm going, you're going the wrong way.
Todd was like, what's happening? AWOL, I don't know.
Meanwhile, I see John over there, and I see him looking, then he peeks back behind us. I'm like, oh God. Everything in life is broken. So we're walking, and she's like, oh, this is a war memorial. And I was like, wow, I thought more people would have gone to war from TCU. TCU is a big place. And she's like, no, this is just everyone who died. So we're walking past, and we eventually, I'm a half step ahead, so I'm like, oh, let's go this way. We're kind of routing, and then to my plan, she goes, oh, the swing, that's so cool. And so she goes to sit. I'm like, oh, do you want to swing? And she's like, yeah, that sounds great. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, we got time to kill. We're just waiting for them to be done. What are you doing?
Anyway, so she goes to sit down on the swing, and I'm like, hey, make sure your dress is oh wow. So I'm like, oh, make sure your dress is down. So I'm like, oh, John's gonna be taking photos, and we want to make sure that everything is.
Make sure your dress doesn't come up. He goes, make sure your dress doesn't come up while you're on the swing. My words out of my mouth were, I think I know how to be a lady. I go to sit on the swing, and I land on my ass, on the dirt, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
And I'm like, oh God.
You did not think it was as funny as me, but whatever.
And so she gets on the swing, and I push her a few times. She's like, oh, push me higher. And I'm like, no, we shouldn't. And my initial plan is, it's like, oh, I was telling her sister, I was like, I'm gonna get her on the swing, and I'm just gonna push her 10 feet in the air, and then I'm gonna go right out, not right in front where I can get kicked, but just far enough. She's at the apex of her swing, 10 feet in the air. It's like, oh shit, I'm getting proposed to. I figured that would make great photos, but scrap that idea.
What would I even do with my hands at that point?
Yeah, I was like, it wasn't going to turn out well.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're, she gets out of the swing, and we're talking, and I'm just telling her all the things you say when you're about to get engaged, and then she says,
I'll just shorten it. He said something along the lines of, I love you more than anything, and my words were, do you love me more than queso? Because I didn't know anything was about to happen.
Well, of course I love you more than queso. And then so from there, that's just a great transition. So I'm like, of course I love you more than queso. And then I say, there's something I've been wanting to ask you, and my eyes start welling up, and I think at that point she's kind of like, oh God. So I had the ring, not in the box, but just the ring in my pocket, because the ring was like, it was like sticking out, and I was like, knowing my luck, she's gonna like pat me, and then like she's gonna be like, oh, what's that box in your pocket? So from there, I asked her to marry me.
Yay!
That's not what she told me. She told me, she said, maybe I'll think about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's enough for me. Let's go to the party.
Get back to me later, maybe. No, I said something along the lines of yes, but I don't even remember.
I don't remember what you said.
It
was like, give me the rock right now.
Yeah, I was like, this finger, this one.
So,